Hey, what is up guys, and welcome to my channel and for a new build for Stranger of Paradise. What I have for you today is what I believe is the best and the easiest way to beat the Labyrinth and reach floor 100. I'm not even joking when I say the Dark Knight is the most powerful job in the game. There's absolutely nothing that can be compared to this. Yes, the Swordsman and the Breaker are amazing jobs and do amazing in the Labyrinth, but are nothing compared to the Dark Knight. What you're looking at right now in the background is the build itself running on floor 100. No monsters, no buffs or anything, just the build alone. You can see that I have no resources or anything, and we are still hitting 50 to 60,000 damage with each hit. With the monsters, you can easily hit the 100k damage on so many of your abilities. There are so many different ways you can play with this build. Katanas have access to so many weapon abilities, the highest number in the game. You can mix and match with whatever you enjoy the most. It is the strongest build by far, so let's get right into it. For our main class, we're going to be using the War Mage on the Dark Knight, and for the secondary, we will be using the Lunarian class on the Tyrant. With the Tyrant, we can chain cancel to reach max MP really easily at the start of every fight using the Luna ability, which is free to use. Tyrant will add magic to your attacks, which will boost your damage while also being able to regenerate your max MP because of your attacks doing magic damage. As for the Affinities, the Cyclic Warrior at 600% is once again super important. This will proc all your soul shield effects whenever you activate your Lightbringer. This works hand in hand with our Bahamut Summon Blessing, which should increase all of our stats on soul shield. We get 600% on our Void Knight to get haste whenever we are above 4 bars of MP. With this, we can chain cancel faster and also activate our command abilities with this faster as well. You will also get reduced cost on your command abilities, as well as increased potency on your MP recovery effects. 400% on our Evoker, so we get more passive MP regen as well as cure ourselves from status effects with potions. It is not super important to have this at 400%, as your Dark Knight ability will drain your health drastically, but it's still good to have at the beginning of the fights. Which is why we get 400% on our Berserker as well, so we can regenerate our MP during Lightbringer. Since we'll not always be at full health, this is also a way we can get our MP back nice and easily. You could even add 400% on your Knight to become invincible during Lightbringer. We get 250% on our Samurai for bonus damage on chain cancel, and then finally 120% on our Summoner, which is what we will use to boost our max MP on chain cancelling. On your gear pieces, it is important to have Soul Burst MP recovery, as well as Soul Shield MP recovery and Action Ability MP cost. Then any other stats that will give you reduced cost on your command abilities will be good to have. On your accessory, it's always good to have Enki Envy. This will apply a debuff on the enemies that will have them take increased damage and pierce their weaknesses. It is not all that important since it's a melee build, but doing extra damage is never bad to have. Here's a look at the master points for the Tyrant. Now let's have a look at the main Dark Knight. We are using the War Mage class, and with this we will get increased damage from our Soul Eater skill. We will lose a lot of health when we have this active, always being at only 1 HP throughout the fights, so we will have to play really carefully with this build. Although we will be invincible to all attacks during Lightbringer, you will have to make sure that you never fight outside of Lightbringer, otherwise you will die near instantly if you take any hit. What makes this build even more powerful is the summon that we are using, and that is Ifrit. This summon is absolutely insane. So whenever you activate a combo ability from a normal attack, with the right timing we can increase the damage of the ability. Even though we will be spamming all of our abilities constantly through the Ascension stance. Since all of the abilities start off from a normal attack in the beginning, we can make all the abilities take the full power of the Ifrit's blessing. I don't know the actual percent increase in damage from the blessing itself, but it is very good. If you just keep on spamming the R2 button, it won't work. To perform this and to know how to correctly time on your abilities, and I have found this out mostly through a lot of practice, as soon as the final hit on your ability lands, that's when you hit the R2 button again, to get that perfect timing. You will know if you did it right when you see a burst of red aura come around your character. You will also get an indication under your health bar if you see an Ifrit icon. That way you will know if you've gotten that bonus damage or not. So practice outside of the Labyrinth to get your timing right. Quite a few of your abilities on your katanas have multiple hits, such as your Tornado, the Giant Slash, the Hanaharashi, As soon as the last hit lands, that's when you press the ability button again. Once your timing is spot on, you will be able to keep your Ifrit ability active indefinitely, gaining big bursts of damage with every single abilities that you use. Now let's have a look at the affinities. As you can see, we don't have a lot of affinities at all, only 5 of them. Firstly, we get 600% on our samurai. This will proc all of our parry effects if a combo ability effect is triggered. With this, almost all of our attacks will be critical hits, thanks to the 400% on the samurai itself, which will make our next ability be a critical hit after a successful parry. 600% on our Dark Knight itself. This will give us bonus damage on enemies that are targeting us, having all of our near-death effects active all the time. And finally, we will get health regen on successful hits. The health regen is not so important, but it will increase the damage of our attacks thanks to the enhanced War Mage Wisdom. Then it's important to get Ronin at 600%. This will give us access to all the abilities that the katana offers. You will not only get all those abilities, but it will increase the damage dealt with the katana combo abilities as well. We will get so many to choose from with this. A total of 21 abilities can be mixed and matched to be used during Ascension stance. This also includes the 2 new abilities that came with the recent DLC, which is the Heaven's Fall and this other one here. We will have a lot to choose from. We then have 600% on our breaker to get bonus strength stat and bonus damage whenever we soul burst enemies. Also a big bonus in our strength stat whenever we soul shield enemies. 400% on our black mage so we can burst our max MP limit with all the magic damage that we deal. This is why we use Tyrant, so when we imbue our weapon with an element, it will all count as magic damage. For your gear pieces, we get as much damage as we can on our katana combo abilities, as well as MP cost reduction on those abilities. A few bonus damage on your Soul Eater can also be very useful. Then we get as much as you can on strength and your best damage bonuses like near death damage dealt and damage during Lightbringer. You could also add an intellect if you want to as well, but strength is more important. For your accessory, Lionheart is very important as it has that all important invincible skill, which will make us immune to all damage during Lightbringer. It is the most important item that you will need for this build. For your command abilities, we have Lunatic for faster attack speed, then the Mighty Strikes and Lancet combo for increased damage and to regen our MP. Here is a look at the master points for the Dark Knight. That is all you will need for this build. It is by far the best and the fastest way to reach floor 100 in the Labyrinth. Compared to all the other builds, this one can consistently do floor 100 rifts without the need for any monsters and their buffs, which is probably why I do recommend this one more than the Breaker, which was my initial best build for the Labyrinth. For the best combo ability options for bossing are these 3. This move here, which is the one where you perform a simple slash downwards, is probably your best move. It easily hits 100,000 damage, it's very fast and can easily be chained continuously with your Ifrit summon. And it's also not very hard to chain this move with proper timing. The best setup I've had with mobbing is the Tornado, followed by the Slash, and then finishing with the Giant Slash. It has a good mix of dealing both magic and physical damage, so no enemy will be able to get past it regardless of what resistances that they may have. Even though all these abilities cost 2 to even 3 bars of MP to use, we will have so much cost reduction on our abilities that we'll be able to spam them infinitely as long as you're hitting the enemies. Practice getting your timing right for your Ifrit summon. Getting damage boosted by a few thousand just for proper timing is incredibly useful. It is really satisfying when you can constantly pull off perfect timing on all of your abilities just to do a ridiculous amount of damage. Even some of your simpler abilities can even hit for 80 to 90,000 damage. It melts bosses so quickly and without any trouble whatsoever. And mobbing is the easiest I've ever done. The Gyro ability will break the smaller enemies on its own. It's truly one of the best builds for the Labyrinth. Outside the Labyrinth, you will destroy everything. There's nothing that can get in your way. You can use this to stack up on all your dragon treasures very quickly. Hope you guys enjoyed the build. There are so many ways you can play with this build. So many abilities to choose from, it's totally insane. I had such fun with this. People have been saying that the Dark Knight is really strong in the Labyrinth, and I can see why. Let me know what you guys think. I would love to hear from you all. I will catch you all next time.